What's up, everybody? It's Erin.
And Nicole, this is Dude That's Fucked Up.
How's everybody doing? Welcome to the podcast.
I feel like I was channeling Alexis Rose a little bit. You know, like, hi. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess I do go like hi and bye. Like I like extend it out like as a force of habit because I've noticed that Damien has started to do it. It's very cute when you see a not yet 2-year-old child go, hi.
Oh my goodness.
Bye.
Yeah. Bye.
Like Alaska. Yeah. It's so funny.
Oh my God. That reminds me. I need to watch that Dungeons and Dragons show with all the drag queens.
Mm-hmm.
It looks very good. I saw a clip of it today and I was like, oh, this is delightful.
I love it. What a like just meeting of minds.
I know.
It's hobbies and things.
I think it's necessary.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, let's breathe some fun into that. I mean, that channel, the Dimension 20 or whatever, I think is very cool and inclusive. So, like, that's not a problem for them. But in general, you know, I feel like
it's now more. It's like getting more mainstream. I think.
Yeah,
like,
it's more. Yeah, and obviously, like, it's gonna be great. I think.
I love it. So much content, so little time.
Oh. Preach.
And on that note, thank you for joining us. We know you have many options for podcasts and other types of content, but you chose to hang out with us today, and we appreciate that.
True. For the next hour, like you're gonna be hanging out with us, and it's so cool.
It's very cool. We have a great summertime vibes topic for you.
Are we just going to get right into it, or do we have any biz?
I don't have any biz. I would say my only biz is like check out our website. It's DTFUpodcast.com.
That's good, yeah.
And from there you can like just see all kinds of cool content that we have done over the years. Mm-hmm. We have links to everything you could possibly imagine that is affiliated with us. Like our Patreon page, it's patreon.com/DTFU podcast. And on our Patreon, you can do all kinds of stuff. We have a Discord that we are in frequently talking about everything from the latest scandals of the day. For example, we have been obsessing over, what's this bitch's name?
The Miranda Sings.
Miranda Sings controversy.
Urinal.
Yeah, it's very, very strange. So we've been like going off in the Discord about that. And we just like had a full on conversation before we jumped on the podcast.
We spent like 20 minutes.
Like just absolutely just deep diving into this shit. So it's really fun on the Discord. Oh, and we also like talk about like RuPaul's Drag Race and anything and everything you can imagine. So check that out. What else?
Okay, I want to share an update from last week on the stories because last week when we recorded, we said what the votes were for the Chat GPT Volume 2, and still the one that won. Actually, it changed. So the order in which like the percentage of votes were changed.
Like more votes rolled in.
More votes. Lot more votes rolled in. Almost another. Like almost doubled.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And the one that was in the lead in terms of people thinking it was the real story was Wedding Shart, which it wasn't when we recorded. And in second place was the Shat on a Cat, the real story.
Oh.
So once more people listened to it, maybe noodled on it, maybe let it marinate.
Wait, the wedding one, the dad sunburned butt? Or no,
the Wedding Shart, the last
wedding
one.
Shart. Oh,
and I think I wonder if it's because maybe those were both the closest, like they both had a shart involved. I wonder if that's what was maybe. I'd be interested to know if that's why. If you voted for either of those, was it because there was two that were shart related, and did that make your brain think, oh, it's probably one of these? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So. Yeah, something for us to consider next time because we've gotten a few more stories, so we get to keep doing this, which is very exciting.
Sharts are very relatable.
Yeah. Everyone's done it at least once.
I just keep every time we read a listener story, I just always think back to the like flaps and craps
that shart.
Yeah. That
was good. That was full diarrhea.
Yeah, that was something else.
That was a full accident.
Yeah, big time. So
yeah,
we've had some amazing listener story episodes, and these Chat GPT episodes are no exception. So keep them coming, people.
Keep them coming, and they don't have to be a shart. It could be like a sexual one. We had that bargain bin Abe Lincoln.
Bargain bin Abe Lincoln, an all-time classic.
All-time classic. So we've had vibrator story. Like we've had so many stories now. That please send us any story. It doesn't have to be a shart. Though we always love a shart.
And maybe we'll like trick you guys, and like all of them one day will be real. I don't know. No, we're not mean like that. We wouldn't trick you guys.
No.
Oh, anyway, that's all the fun stuff. We're just we're just being silly gooses all the time.
Yeah. Well, okay, so you said that this topic today is like very summertime.
Yes.
It is because it's almost 4th of July, and that means it's the time of year when everybody from all over the world drags their butts to Coney Island to either watch people or participate in forcibly feeding themselves water-dunked meat tubes with no condiments, sans flavor. A plain hot dog and it's wet. Fuck off. But people are into this for some reason. And since we've already done kind of a 4th of July Nathan's hot dog eating competition episode in the past, we thought, well, what else could we do? And then we thought, oh, well, we haven't even really talked about Coney Island, and there must be like an interesting history, and there kind of is. So we're going to talk about Coney Island today.
Yeah. When you lived in New York, did you ever go to Coney Island?
Yes. Before we moved, Pete and I were like, we need to go see Coney Island. Yeah. We took the train. It took fucking forever. We got there. We have a picture of us on the Cyclone, the roller coaster.
Ooh, wow.
It was the most rickety ass, fucking scary, painful roller coaster I've ever been on.
Just like very like
it was so
like very very fucking rough,
like jerky,
because it's a wooden roller coaster, right? Or
I think so. I don't remember, and it was very small. Like Pete and I were really wedged in there, and then like just the like you go to Disneyland and it's like smooth, everything's fucking smooth as butter, and it's just like an enjoyable time. This was like my back hurt after, and I was still in my 20s. I was like, oh, my back.
This fucking roller coaster threw my back out. Yeah.
Oh, but it was really, really fun to see and really cool. And like, it's busy and, it
seems cool.
It's cool. Yeah.
I checked it out when I lived on the East Coast, but I never did. I don't know. There was just always too much else going on whenever I'd visit New York. So
yeah, it's not something I've seen it. I probably wouldn't go back. I mean, it was fine, but if you live there, it is like public beach access, and it's an amusement park, and it's like there's attractions and it's history, and there's a lot going on. So
yeah, and it seems like more recently too they've done a lot to like revitalize the area, so it seems like it's probably even nicer than it was like 10-15 years ago. So
for sure.
So today we're talking about Coney Island.
I love it. Well, okay, a little background, I suppose. Coney Island isn't just like the little amusement park area. That's part of it, but it is like a whole it's technically a peninsula. It's not actually an island.
Right.
But it kind of was an island when it was, and I'm going to use air quotes, discovered.
Colonized.
Colonized, yeah. And so I guess it's like a peninsular neighborhood formerly known as an island, because there used to be a stream or like a series of streams in the 17th century when people started like moving onto there and developing it, that separated that land from Brooklyn. It's located south of Brooklyn. It's at the very, very bottom of Manhattan, technically. Well, excluding Staten Island. And before European colonization, Coney Island was inhabited by the Lenape people. And they referred to the area as Neriok, which meant land without shadows, because it's just open, sunny beaches.
Mm-hmm. Even before the development, it was just like always
a beach.
Always a beach.
Yeah, life's a beach.
And a big open space beach, not like didn't have like a ton of trees or anything.
Yeah. It was just like truly like beach area.
Mm-hmm.
And then eventually it was settled. Do we still say settled or do we still say colonized?
I think colonized.
Yeah. Okay. So eventually, it became a Dutch colony.
Mm-hmm.
So, and of New Netherland, because this is what New York was called before, or New Amsterdam or whatever. There was a lot of Dutch people. And this was later in the 17th century. And the name Coney Island supposedly comes from the Dutch Coney Island. I don't know.
Coney Island.
Oh, wait. I have to... A schmuck and a pancake?
Coney Island. Wait, that's like more Icelandic. That's like more like
But
Bjork.
that's good. That was really close, I think.
Thank you. Oh, okay. Wow.
You could fool me. I don't know. I can't say.
I was doing my like Bjork accent.
Yeah, no, I liked it.
Okay.
But it was very Michael Myers in... That's a schmuck and a pancake. Gold. Or whatever. Well, I don't know. God. Okay. Anyway, that means Rabbit Island. And that's what they called it, that because there was a lot of wild rabbits that inhabited it. It was like grasslands, beach. It was just,
very duney, I'm assuming.
Yeah, the dunes.
The dunes, the waves, the beach.
Yeah. It was
the
like
grasses.
Flowing fucking waves of grain.
Yeah. Purple Mountain's Majesty. Okay, this is like one of the parts of fucking Birdcage. You know the Birdcage?
Bitch.
Me and DJ quote to each other all the time.
I have to tell you this.
What?
On Father's Day, we took my mom to see the Birdcage. There was like a pride screening at the Alamo Drafthouse.
Uh-huh.
That part, I've never laughed so hard at that part.
It's just they're like falling asleep, and he's like, because he's talking about their drive down to
Gene Hackman's character is talking about waves of grain and really beautiful, and the trees and the roads. And it's so long, and it just keeps cutting to all of them, and then oh my God, I was laughing so hard. P.S. I've seen Bradley Whitford there twice.
Really?
We took my mom for Mother's Day to see the movie Mother. It's an Albert Brooks movie with Debbie Reynolds.
Oh, yeah.
He was sitting in front of us, and we were there for the Birdcage, and he was there again sitting in front of us. And I was like, me and Bradley Whitford have the exact same like taste in movies.
How funny. That's too good. Oh my God, that's so funny.
Celeb sighting.
No big deal.
Yeah, but that part was so fucking funny. Also, that movie still
It's
incredible.
A comfort movie for me.
It's a comfort movie.
Bob Dole is gorgeous. I always laugh so hard at
the
part.
end. That's the best. Oh my God. It's so good. Some of it, It
doesn't hold up, but
we'd go, should Hank Azaria be playing this Guatemalan person? No. Is it a great performance? Absolutely. It is.
Oh my God.
So good. And Robin Williams is so sparkly in it. His eyes, I just was like in love with him the whole time. And he's so handsome in that movie. And I never noticed until this age.
I know. Isn't that funny how when you get older, you're like, I get it now.
I get it. Because he always just was like a dad, and you're just like, you just loved him in that way. And then I see him in this and I go, he is sexy. And the way, the way acting that they are portrayed is like so ahead of its time. Like, I don't know. I just was like, I love this movie. It's so good, and I'm so happy I saw this as a child.
I know. It's like a top tier comfort movie for me.
It's so good.
Like DJ and I, anytime it's on TV, we stop and watch it. Period.
You have to, yeah.
Have to.
It's so good. Ah! Nathan Lane. I pierced the toast. Ma'am. Oh God, it's so fucking funny. Every soundbite, and I used to quote it with my friends. We didn't even understand these jokes when we were kids.
Yeah, I know.
We just thought it was great. Okay, so back to Coney Island. Okay, so it was like this huge, like, beautiful piece of land, right? And so it began to transform into like a resort destination around the mid-19th century, so like, you know, mid-1800s, when the Gravesend and Coney Island Road and Bridge Company was commissioned to build a bridge across Coney Island Creek, which was like the waterway that separated it from Brooklyn.
Gotcha.
And it connected it to the rest of, you know, lower Brooklyn in 1829. And as you can imagine, this, you know, reduced travel time, and people, instead of taking like, you know, 12 hours to get there, a roadway.
Because they had to like go around the like river or whatever.
Yeah, like it would take, you know, just a couple hours or what. I mean, it would still take a long ass time, but
they had a more direct route.
They had a more direct route from Prospect Park in Brooklyn, and it just was like they could take a carriage, and it was nice, and that meant more people needed to stay in the area, you know, like, because they could make trips, but then it was still long enough that they needed to stay. And so the Coney Island House was built in 1829, and it was the first hotel on the island. And then shortly after, a ferry line was introduced in 1847, and that made it way more accessible for not just wealthy people who had a carriage and horses and like could get there and stay. The ferry was just like a 2-hour ride, so anyone could
hop on
a ferry and go to the beach for the day. And so it started making it a vacation destination for, you know, middle and upper class. And then in 1849, making it, again, even more accessible, a shell road was developed across the island to allow you not just to plop yourself right into like the front part of the island, but you could go all the way back because it's a long peninsula.
Gotcha.
It opened up the island way more to a lot more people, and obviously to more development, because as people started going there more and more people were able to access it, they needed more places for people to stay and hang out. So in 1868, William Ingman built the Brighton Beach Hotel. That was a resort for a ton of people. It could have up to 5,000 people nightly. And it was huge. 5,000 people could stay there a night, and then 20,000 people could be fed in an evening.
Damn, dude.
So it was money. Like, yeah, dude, it was a big fucking like to do. And it was fancy, you know, like it was like nice. And this was like waiter service and all coordinated, and thousands of people working there. And it was really nice. And then there was a double-decker beach bathing pavilion, the Brighton Beach Bathing Pavilion, which was like a bathhouse type thing. That was also built nearby and opened in 1878. And that could hold like 1,200 bathers. And it was like not super crowded or anything. Like you could go and it's like very relaxing, a spa type thing.
It sounds lovely, honestly.
I know. When did we get rid of bathhouses?
I don't know.
Is it like because they had got bad reputations?
I feel like maybe like there's like sanitary concerns and shit.
And puritanical bullshit, I think. It's like we can't all be naked together. And it's like, fine, but we need a replacement then.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like we've morphed bathhouses into like, you know, just like these resort kind of like all-encompassing things that aren't just like one thing. Now they're like multiple things. So I don't know.
Like a sandals.
Yeah, exactly.
Things can get naughty if you need it to, but it doesn't have to. And then in 1878, the Brooklyn, Flatbush, and Coney Island Railway, which is now the B Line in New York City, opened. And that immediately, like, now Coney Island's for literally everyone. Like, anyone can get there. It's super accessible, super affordable, just like it is today. Like, anyone can go spend the day at the beach. And, of course, as more and more, let's say, regular people are coming there, all the rich people are like, excuse me. Well, now where am I supposed to go? And so they're like, we don't want to spend time at the beach with the poors.
Yeah, get these like poor people out of here. We need our own bathing beach.
Yeah. Ew, did you take the train? You didn't bring your own carriage? Oh, gross. I don't want to be next to you, train people or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And so, obviously, some investors were like, ooh, ding, ding, I have an idea. And so this one guy, he was a very wealthy banker. His name was Austin Corbin. He was like, okay, I have an idea. I'm going to develop luxury resorts for the non-poors in Manhattan Beach. That's the furthest point out on the peninsula. So it's like it's remote. You're far removed from any of the regular people
and hoi polloi. You just get these poors out of here.
The heathens.
Yeah. Ugh.
Yeah. And so he was like a big Wall Street guy, and he had many investments in in the railroads, and I think he later became the president of the Long Island Railroad, like whatever association that was at the time or what have you. And he built the New York and Manhattan Beach Railway to service his hotels. So he was like, he's like, not only am I going to make these like further out, more luxurious, more expensive, I'm gonna create like its own, like railway out there so like people can access it, but it won't be for everyone. It's just for...
I'm like envisioning like whatchamacallit, that show that was on HBO, like the Astors and the fucking Rockefellers and shit, like
totally
would go out there and like it wasn't just for anybody. What am I thinking of?
I want to say it's not Enlightenment. It's not
no, the Gilded
Gilded Age. Yeah,
this is Gilded Age shit. Yeah.
It's very,
but even then, like I feel like this is like too resorty for these, like for super wealthy people. It's for wealthy people, but like the upper echelon people are still going out to the Hamptons and shit, and like they had their own fucking houses. Yeah. They didn't fuck around with hotels because they were too rich for that. So
yeah, they have a compound.
Yeah, exactly.
If they did fuck around with these hotels, it was probably just at the beginning when it was opening and like no one had stayed there yet. And then once people had stayed there, they're like, ew, did somebody already sleep on this mattress? Ew.
Yeah.
Which don't ever think about that when you're in a hotel. Because one time I did that, I couldn't sleep. I laid down on the bed. I go, I had like this thought suddenly, like people have slept, like there have been other bodies on this.
Oh, I always think about that. I always wonder like what kind of weird sex have people had on this bed,
Yeah, no, totally. Or just like what weird things, like I don't know.
They replace those mattresses all the time though.
Oh, they do? That's good. Yeah, they have to. Well, most hotels do, but some you can lay in it and you go, this is old.
Yeah.
Okay, so he built the 150 room Manhattan Beach Hotel, and it was like very fancy. It had ballrooms and restaurants and just like it was super nice, and it opened in July of 1877, and the ceremony, like the opening ceremony, was presided over by President Ulysses S. Grant.
This is like old-timey shit, man.
This is like old money, old timey, like, yeah, the fucking president.
Ulysses S. Grant? Oh my God.
I know. And then he built an even fancier, the Oriental Hotel, which hosted rooms for wealthy families staying for like extended periods. So maybe that was a bit more like mini like apartments, you know, like maybe they had a little kitchenette. It was more the Residence Inn versus, you know, the Holiday Inn.
Yeah.
But for rich people.
Extended stay.
It was your extended stay variety. There was a desk in there, maybe a couch, you know. We should also note while we're talking about this guy that he was a piece of shit. If the investment banker rich person didn't give it away.
Oh yeah.
He was a published anti-Semite, and after an interview in 1879, a reporter for the New York Herald ran the following. It said, and this is in all caps, like you could go look at what this was, but it says Jewish patronage not welcomed at Manhattan Beach. And then it like signed, or it's like Mr. Corbin's denunciation. Like basically it was like he was quoted in the paper, and it was just like a big box in the paper, almost like an advertisement, which obviously is awful. But something I thought was brilliant is that this area now is known as an Italian and Jewish neighborhood, like very Jewish, Ashkenazi Jewish and Sephardi Jewish, and a large Russian Jewish immigration like settled there. So they were all like, fuck you, dude. We're moving in and you could go die, which he did.
Yeah. Fuck that
I think
guy.
in a carriage accident. So yeah.
We love to see it. See it.
But also like there is still like streets and stuff named after him, and that why? Fuck off with that street name. Name it something else. We don't need that.
No. Like we literally rename streets all the fucking time. It's
right?
Let's do it.
I know. You know, and it's so that like reading this, it makes you so aware of how deeply ingrained like racism and hatred is and in this country, because there are just streets named after this shithead. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
totally.
like we don't even think about it because we're like, say you live in Brooklyn and you live on Corbin Street or whatever. You don't like that. You don't necessarily know that that's why.
You don't know who it is and you don't have any context for it. But yeah, now you do. Yeah. So this area is like getting populated. It's getting like the tourism is getting wild. It's printing money, and there needs to be something else, not just like places to stay. There needs to be things for people to do.
Yeah.
So
attracting people,
not just the beaches, but like other things to do. Like you seen one beach, you've seen them all, you know, like there needs to be some other. And it's like family and you know, all different types of people are coming through here. So people are starting to percolate and get ideas, and like entertainment is the name of the game. So a little bit later on in like 1876, this man named Charles I.D. Loof, a Danish woodcarver, built the first carousel and amusement ride at Coney Island at Lucy Vanderveer's bathhouse complex at West 6th Street and Surf Avenue. Loof personally hand-carved some of the designs into the carousel, which is very cool. Mm-hmm. And side note, I gotta like take a little detour here, but this man was very prolific with like all of his carousel creations. This was like his jam. And he eventually like did a bunch of stuff. He like lived in Rhode Island for a time. He was just this like prolific kind of artistic kind of dude.
He's like, who needs a carousel?
Who needs a carousel?
I'll come and live there. I'll make you one.
It was like he was the carousel guy. They were like, you ever heard of this Loof? He's making carousels. I need a carousel. Go get the Loof.
Have you talked to Loof?
Have you talked to Loof? So he eventually moved out to Long Beach and built a carousel at the Pike, which is our Coney Island on the West Coast.
Was. Yeah. It doesn't exist anymore, which is very sad.
It kind of does, but not really.
It's an outlet mall now, but it used to be
like a boardwalk.
It was a boardwalk, yeah. And there's pictures of it, and it was incredible.
It was amazing. It was beautiful. Yeah. But so like at the time that he moved out to Long Beach, it was like everything was heyday of the Long Beach, Coney Island, basically. And he created a amazing carousel there, which eventually burned down. And then his son owned and operated a quote fascination game, which is like just a type of game in those days. It was called Loof's Light-A-Line, and that shit still exists to this day.
I've been there.
And have you really? I want to go so bad.
Pete wants to take you and DJ.
I want to go so bad.
He's always saying we should take Erin and DJ there. I'm like, why? It's so weird.
No, I want to go so bad.
Yeah,
I've like thought about it. So every time I drive by it, I'm like, I want to go there so bad.
Yeah.
It's called Loof's Light-A-Line, like light a line.
Yeah.
And it's like, I think it's like on Atlantic.
It's on Long Beach Boulevard.
Long Beach Boulevard. That's right. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
It's like gambling.
Yeah,
basically.
It's like a little like
it's like a carnival game meets gambling.
Yeah, I like kind of liken it to like a pachinko machine kind of like vibe.
Yeah, exactly. It's very interesting.
Yeah, and this Loof guy, like, also, he fucking designed and built with his son, the guy the Light-A-Line guy.
Yeah,
built the fucking Santa Monica Pier, which is
Loof Jr.
Loof Senior,
Lil Loof,
Big Loof and Lil Loof built and designed the Santa Monica Pier, which is still popping to this day.
That truly makes me so sad that ours didn't survive.
I know,
because that is such a cool thing.
I know. It's a bummer.
A bummer. Yeah.
Sorry for the detour.
Amazing. I love it. That's so cool.
I know. A little fun factoid.
Yeah.
Another early attraction that was built was the Seaside Aquarium, which was operated from 1877 to 1887. And there was like lots of like aquatic exhibits, aviaries, zoo attractions, and like lots of different sideshows. And there were the rides, including Loof's first carousel and the Seaside Aquarium, were all located at the Centennial Observatory site.
Cool.
The very first roller coaster at Coney Island was the Switchback Railway in 1884.
Oh my God.
So it's pretty cool.
And I don't think that like so much of it, like we'll talk about it. But like so much of it was kind of broken down. I mean, there's just been so many iterations of Coney Island that there are some things, like the cyclone that still exist and other things that aren't even operable, but
they've been preserved.
Have been
historical
preserved.
societies.
Yes.
Yeah.
A lot
There's
of
like a parachute ride. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like a lot of stuff down there now is preserved by the historical society, so it might not work, but it will be there forever, and I'm glad that they did that, because there were so many iterations and it's just lost, like one of the things that no longer exists but sounds cool as fuck was a building called the Elephantine Colossus.
Yes.
And it was a 7-story building and in the shape of an elephant. It had like offices and rooms you could stay in, and it even had a brothel. And
it eventually became a brothel. It was like it wasn't originally a brothel, but it
eventually dilapidated into one, I suppose.
Yeah.
But dude, and it was the shape of a fucking elephant. It's there's pictures of it. It's so cool, and I don't know why, because like I don't know why I always think this, but because Rome created the Colosseum and shit, and like cool stuff has always been made, but you just look at something like the Elephant Building and you go, how could they even have figured this out back then?
I know.
Like it looks like an elephant. It's like, where were they seeing elephants? Those aren't native to the U.S. Like,
yeah, but people were traveling the world still.
Yeah, true. It just was taking forever.
They're in books.
Yeah, they're in books.
There's illustrations.
It was cool, but it did burn down in 1896. And it used to be, this is a little fun fact, the Elephant used to be the first site to greet immigrants arriving in New York before they even saw the Statue of Liberty, because of where Coney Island is. It's like you have to go around Coney Island to go up towards Manhattan to get to Ellis Island.
Yep.
And that would be it.
So funny.
I know. It's just like this weird elephant hotel.
What the fuck? Where am I?
What?
Yeah.
What? Yeah. Wait.
They're
are
like,
we in
wait.
America?
They're like, they have elephants in America? It's just like, it's so funny. I love it so much. I love it.
Yeah, it's good. Oh my God.
Then the next thing that people were like, we need to get more people out here. What else can we do?
Yeah.
Horse racing tracks. By 1890, Coney Island had 3 tracks: Sheepshead Bay Racetrack, Brighton Beach Race Course, and Gravesend Racetrack. But with horse racing comes a lot of crime, a lot of corruption, a lot of all kinds of shit. We just could not get our shit together in New York. It was wild times. So I mean,
corruption was also like the height of New York City corruption, right? So it's like, so people just were doing bad things.
Yeah, people were doing fuck shit.
Yeah.
And then the development of amusement rides in Coney Island intensified in the 1890s, and that was with the opening of amusement parks. So not just like these one-off roller coasters, but like there was like full-on like little mini Disneylands popping up. Oh, and another fun fact about the Loof guy is that his carousels were an inspiration to Walt Disney.
Oh, cool. That makes sense.
And he was inspired by the like kind of like, fanciful kind of vibes of his carousels. And he's like, I'm going to make a cool carousel and when I make Disneyland. So, yeah.
Is the carousel in Long Beach still the Loof guys? Is that like preserved? Or
that burned down. That burned
down. Did? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So that's
everything burned down.
Yeah.
at some point in time.
Well, it was all made of wood.
Yeah. So one of the first amusement parks was called Sea Lion Park, which operated from 1895 to 1902. And it was the first amusement park to charge entry fees. Like, that's what they should have been doing all along.
Yeah.
And the opening of the Sea Lion Park spurred the construction of George C. Tillew's Steeplechase Park, which opened in 1897. So we got like kind of competing parks happening.
Yeah.
And then Luna Park opened in 1903 on the site of Sea Lion Park, which closed the previous year. So there's just so much turnover on Coney Island. There's a story every single decade, basically. There's like, you can literally like, it just changed so much just in a short amount of time.
Well, and I think because it was like being developed and people were so excited about it and all this transit, the thing and the reason that it was developed and ended up being this like place of leisure for people is because it was so close to Manhattan that it was easy to get there on like a little vacation if you could afford it, but it wasn't like that close. It still felt like you were leaving and going to a whole
exactly.
And so that's why I think, it was so attractive to everyone, not just developers, but to people to go there, It's like
totally. You're in a whole new world.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. So when Luna Park opened, it was like the tits. They had a ton of cool shit, exotic landscaping, and they had electricity, baby.
Ooh, baby.
Lots and lots of cool lights, and people were like, whoa, this is pretty fucking cool.
Yeah, it was like super bright. You could like see it from the tip of Manhattan. Like, it like lit up the atmosphere so much. Because also back then we didn't have as much like what's that called where it's like
light pollution.
Yeah, light pollution, because things weren't as lit. So
yeah, I mean, we only started using electricity like turn of the century. So
yeah, it's pretty cool.
It was like fairly new technology, so it was like kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
And the flagship ride at Luna Park was A Trip to the Moon, and it was an attraction based on Jules Verne's novel From the Earth to the Moon.
That's cool.
That's very cool. And then the following year, the opening of Dreamland came, and that they basically like ripped off a ton of attractions from Luna Park, but made them like bigger and better. And they had a large central tower and a lagoon, a sunken plaza, and they were like, those like cute little lights are nice. We have 1 million electric lights.
Oh,
they were just like the one-uppers.
This was a thing of that time, I feel like, and nobody felt guilty about it. It's like, how did like Pat and Gino's come to exist, like the Philly cheesesteak places or whatever? But it's like, no, back a long time ago, people didn't care. You could just be like, hey, I'm gonna do that too, and then you just like go, look, I did it, and you're like,
it's America, baby. Yeah.
We all get this opportunity. It's wild to me.
I know. It's like literally like across the way from this. It was like it's like Disneyland opened and then fucking Schmizneyland opened. It's like it's so like obvious and blatant in their face, you know,
with Ricky Rat or whatever. It's like
exactly.
We have Ricky Rat. It's like, no, that's just Mickey Mouse with like buck teeth. It's Ricky Rat.
So this place is getting real popular. On the busiest summer days, over 1 million people would travel to Coney Island.
There was even 1 million people alive back then. Like, that's wild.
Yeah, I know. It's a lot. Like, it's getting pretty crowded and crazy. And this started to create tensions between longtime New York City residents and more recent immigrants who like to come and hang out at Coney Island, take a break. And one of the entrepreneurs who took advantage of the increased visitor counts was a man named Nathan Handworker, who in 1918 started selling hot dogs at Coney Island for a nickel each, and eventually expanded his enterprise into the Nathan's famous hot dog chain.
Oh my God.
Nathan Handworker.
Handwork those sausages into their tubes.
I'm working with my hands. I'm a hand worker. And it's like HANDWERKER. I love it.
Work. Yeah, hand worker with an E. That's a hand job.
Exactly. Yeah, and of course, you know, these amusement parks had very problematic attractions. So they had, they had like the roller coasters, the cute little stuff, but then they also had like sideshows, and like all kinds of fucked up shit. One of the attractions at Dreamland was a miniature town populated by over 300 little people. It was called Lilliputian Village, and the little people actually lived there on site in this little village, and it functioned as a community, and it's like everything was built to scale for them. They had their own police and fire department, and they even performed their own acts, such as the Tom Thumb Circus. But it was like set up in a way that people could just like look at, like just look at them and watch them all the time. So it's like,
like they lived there, but it was like they lived in a cage almost, because it's like everybody's just, you're an attraction.
Yeah, exactly. So they're just like trying to go about their day in this like little village, and people are just gawking at them. And then another very problematic, I mean, this is really fucking horrible, very problematic attraction was at Luna Park, and it was called the Igorot Village, and basically it was a Filipino people, like native to the Philippines, Filipino tribesmen, women, and children living in a replica village on the grounds of Luna Park, and they like presented a sensationalized version of their customs. They basically told them like, do like native stuff and like make it like really like wear loincloths and all this shit, and like people are gonna watch you. And they like had them eat dogs every day.
Oh no. And
this was actually like part of their like culture, but
it really was, or was it made up?
I don't know.
Because I wonder if it's like, it feels like they were like, hey, we're gonna tell people this is what it's like living in the Philippines, and we're gonna quote unquote have you like be savages or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
But then it's like a white man came up with this shit. Wear a loincloth. Like, they're like, we wear shorts.
Yeah, who's to say, man? It was
oh man,
it was very, very like stereotypical, like
God,
you're a like
right,
a savage in the jungle kind of thing,
right,
and they and they staged this shit for them basically. So
yeah, and then they're like, look at these weird people or whatever. It's like you told them, you made them do this. Yeah, that's fucking.
I mean, and who's to say like maybe they did actually eat dog but it was like a special occasion thing in their culture.
Yeah, who knows? Yeah,
and maybe to Americans though, that's like the height of like
right
horrible, whereas like we eat all kinds of animals and we don't bat an eye, but anyway, so
either way they're exploiting them,
and they would money. And people would like gawk at them. They slaughter and cook the dog in front of people.
Oh God.
Yeah, anyway, it was
so
very
weird.
fucked up.
Yeah. Oh my God. Iterations of those parks, like we were talking about, like every decade it evolved, and people were going there. I don't know if this is a fun fact. I'm gonna not include it because I forgot to fact check it. But it just kept growing and growing, and then now we're in the 20th century, okay, and people are still going there, and it's fun, but over time it becomes less interesting to people, and I'm sure it just gets a little worn down, and people are just like, it's a cash grab, and it probably gets pretty crowded. And then by the mid-1960s, tourism hit an all-time low, and in part because the World's Fair came to Flushing, Queens, where they built that giant park with like those flying saucer-looking things. See Men in Black for reference.
The film. Yeah.
Yeah, because Edgar steals one.
Yeah, he busts out of his Edgar suit.
Yeah, and he tries to fly home.
Yeah.
We can't let him leave the planet. Okay, and so I think tourism started just slowing down, and that park opened, and that was like interesting for a couple years, and it really created this lull, and during that time people just didn't really return. And then Steeplechase Park was shut down and in the 60s, and the area was sold to Fred Trump.
Ew.
Yeah. Boo, villain. And he was going to develop it into something called Trump Village. Even he was upsettingly egotistical, which of course.
that's where Trump learned it from.
Yeah, totally.
No, I read about this. They did build this the condos, and it's it still exists, I think, to this day.
Is it called something else, or is it called Trump Village?
No, it's called Trump Village.
Oh my God. Now it's full of MAGA people, probably.
Well, they tried to not allow him to buy the land.
Yeah.
They wanted it to be a nature preserve, basically, just open land. And he sued the state or the city.
Yeah.
And they let him have it.
Yeah.
And then he ran the fucking real estate into the ground.
Yeah. I think he wanted to develop even more than Trump Village. And there was other developers he teamed up with, and they wanted to create other co-ops and condos. Basically they were just okay, this land is very valuable. It's at the fucking beach. Maybe it's worth putting people here to live instead of just coming to visit, so they saw that potential in it. And then they tried to, while he was trying to build there, like you were saying, a bunch of other developers were also trying to revitalize the boardwalk in the mid 60s. And he this is so fucked up. He had a ceremony, and he destroyed Steeplechase's Park Pavilion of Fun, which was a landmark at the amusement park, during a highly publicized ceremony. He was not only am I going to build condos, I'm going to fucking destroy this landmark that you guys all was beloved for people. And then I will give him the credit that he did want to build a big kind of recreational dome there, like for lots of other activities, you know. That was one of the things he was saying. And then, like you were saying, a bunch of people were like, no, and they started rezoning it, and then he sued them and he won like $1.3 million. Anyway, it kept these lawsuits and all this like kerfuffle kept the land just a parking lot for like a very long time.
Yeah.
And it was just undeveloped after they kind of tore down the Steeplechase Park. And then it wasn't until like the mid 80s. So during this time, like Coney Island wasn't really Coney Island. It was like closed. People weren't coming there like they were a century before, you know. And
and meanwhile, people were like had moved into and were living in this area.
Yeah. But that part of it was like run down. It wasn't, you know, and
it was like the classic like New York slumlord.
I was
like,
gonna say New York in the
vibes.
80s.
Yeah,
Like New York in the 70s, New York in the 80s, like very run down, rough,
very
rough.
Yeah.
A lot of crime and stuff, and so people didn't see the potential in that way, you know. But then there were a lot of people who were fighting to get landmarks, you know, noticed, and in the mid 80s that whole area was revived and restored and protected as landmarks, and it started to, you know, resemble more what we know of Coney Island today. And so things that like Coney Island today, like things that are kind of cool about it or things we should know about it, or if you ever think to go visit, it's still accessible by the subway, the MTA, or a ferry. You could take a ferry from Battery Park. It is 2.7 miles of public beaches, which it's very crowded. And I wouldn't say it's the cleanest beach, but bitch, it's fucking public. So you could go for free. The Cyclone I mentioned, it's a rickety, scary ass roller coaster that is also painful and also still exists. And
hasn't killed anybody yet, as far as we know. Maybe it has. I don't know.
No. Oh yeah. We should have looked. I'm sure there's been accidents. Listen, some of this shit, it's not Disneyland level. There is a defunct, like you mentioned, but preserved parachute ride, and that was actually built for the 1939 New York's World Fair. And it stopped working, you know, in I think like the 60s or 70s, whenever they kind of shut it down. And I don't know that they got it going again, but it won't ever work. Like it just is like
it's just like a landmark now.
A landmark, and of course Nathan's Hot Dogs.
Yeah, that's where Nathan's Hot Dogs started. You could go to the original. Just like the original McDonald's is in San Bernardino, California. Right down the road from where we grew up. I'm trying to think of what else. There's like one other thing that I was thinking of.
Carousel?
The carousel. It's starting. The Mermaid Festival.
Yes.
Or the Mermaid Parade or whatever. It's like that's a big thing. It's like an art parade, and it's like a big deal. It's been going on for over 40 years, and that's like a fun annual thing. And they have like all kinds of like you know, kind of offbeat fun events happening there. I was looking at the Coney Island like event website, and it was just like, like very like Halloween-y vibes almost. It's like because they're like kind of leaning into the sideshow history of Coney Island, it seems like.
Bold choice.
It's a bold choice, but you know what? I'm not mad about it. So
I love there's Coney Island Brewing Company. Coney Island Lager, or is that the Brooklyn Brewing Company?
Whatever one is on Coney Island, they sponsor the Mermaid Parade.
Oh, okay.
And so they're one of them. I think Starkist also does too, which is very cute.
The tuna.
Yeah.
Oh,
because
it seems weird.
But it has the mermaid. You
know,
logo. I think is that Starkist.
Yeah, but also like tuna and mermaids. I feel like that's rude. Mermaids.
I don't know. No, mermaids aren't real. Yeah.
I was gonna say the beer. Oh yeah, Coney Island Brewery. Okay. They have the best. Oh, they used to have a really cool logo, but it doesn't look like that's their logo anymore.
Oh.
Well, that's too bad. Or is it Coney Island Lager, but it's made by a different... Oh. No, it's different. It's the Schmaltz Brewing Company. It's called Coney Island Lager. And it has like a little like...
The face?
Carnival guy. Yeah.
That carnival face is like original from like the 1800s.
Oh my God. Yeah.
And it's still it still exists today. It's still on Coney Island. And that was like that creepy like fun house.
Yeah. Yes. Fun
like,
house. Yeah.
Yeah. That's like what you kind of associate with Coney Island.
That's like the vibe, like you're saying.
Yeah.
Like it's like kind of dark and like
weird and
like,
a little creepy, a little seedy.
Yeah.
But also like it has a very luxurious past. And you know, it's like probably the most American place I could think of.
Yeah. Coney Island. Yeah. Like
Coney Island.
The
fact that immigrants to the United States, that was the first thing that they'd see was that big hippo or the big elephant.
Yeah.
That's so crazy. Like Coney Island is what they see.
Yeah.
That I don't know. Thinking about that is very, very fun.
That also feels very American. Like the first thing you see is like this like fun,
some garish, weird,
just a bunch of rich people eating hot dogs.
Yeah, a bunch of rich people being like, "Oh, look at all these immigrants coming in on the ship."
Yeah. Oh, are those the poors? We should move further back on the peninsula.
God.
Oh God.
Exactly.
Yeah. I know.
Oh my God. Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
Have you guys been to Coney Island? What did you think recently?
Yeah. Would you go?
Would you go? I'd go.
Yeah.
It seems like a pain in the ass to get to, but I don't know. I'm kind of interested. I just like love the historic vibes of it. You know,
me too. It feels like Venice Beach a little bit. Like there's like buildings in Venice Beach that remind me of buildings in Coney Island, like because probably similar time period, you know. But yeah, it's just a fun, weird place, and definitely something to see. I would go again, but I'd take the ferry probably. The subway it's a long journey, and
no, the ferry is the way to go. I think if you ever do end up in New York and you visit Coney Island,
because then you get a fun boat ride past the Statue of Liberty, and you get to see a lot of shit.
Yeah, I love the ferry. It's so fun.
I love that. I love a ferry boat. I really want to do. There's a ferry like in Alaska that you could ride on, like. Ooh. Yeah, like to go to some of the other islands, and it takes a while, but like you can get a little cabin on it and stuff.
I love that.
It's not like a cruise ship. Like it's not like
No.
Yeah, it's just, you know, it's more like business versus pleasure. But also it's cool, and you get to see beautiful stuff, and it's like pretty affordable. I've always wanted to do that.
I love a ferry trip.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, America, fuck yeah. I don't know.
All right.
Thank you guys for listening. Yes. I hope you had a wonderful 4th of July and are still celebrating and eating hot dogs.
Oh my God. I can't wait to eat a hot dog.
Ugh.
It's hot dog summer.
Me want a hot dog real bad.
Yeah. Oh my God, my one I've already had my hot dog for the year at a baseball game. Well, I'll have another one.
I did too. I had a Dodger dog a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
So, at a Dodger game. So
yeah. Huh.
Yeah. All right. Well, check us out on social media. It's at DTFU podcast everywhere. We don't post much, but
no,
we got the handles.
Yeah, I've been posting more on TikTok.
Yeah, check it out. Oh my God, Nicole made the funniest fucking TikTok of all time. A Michael McDonald like cover of the Margarita song.
But it's to the tune of What a Fool Believes.
Yeah. Oh my God. I can't ever hear either of those songs again without thinking of the other. So thank you for that.
It's really an earworm. I've had it stuck.
Give me one margarita in my legs.
Give me two margaritas.
I'm gonna give you some head.
The best part was just that woman who duetted it, and it's like,
oh my God.
When I go like, give the margaritas, she totally loses it. It's very funny. And then all the comments
that's when I
like,
lose it.
All the comments are like, this is so wrong, LOL. Like, why? Who did this? Like, it's so funny. And I was like, so delighted by that.
Oh my God, I love it so much.
Yeah, that's fun. Well, thank you. Yeah.
Give us a margarita. I'ma put it in your butt.
Put it in your butt. Margarita.
That's the part I like absolutely lose my fucking shit. Oh my God.
Put it in your butt.
It's every day, every single day since you posted it, I've been like cracking up to myself by myself. Oh my God. Anyway,
yeah. Okay, well, thank you. Yeah, that's good.
Okay. Stay excellent to yourselves
and each other. Bye.